I want to tell you one of the many supernatural events I've lived through over almost 15 years. Before I begin, I'll tell you that I'm a boy from Guatemala, and I'm not very good at narrating stories, but I'll try my best, so I ask for understanding in that regard. My account is a little long, so I'll try to divide it into parts, because my studies and work make it difficult to keep writing the whole story. Because of that, I'll write a little at a time whenever I can. Everything happened when I was about 9 years old. At that time, I lived with my 3 brothers in my aunt's house, along with her daughter, because my parents went to the United States to work. My aunt's house is located in a municipality in the department of Guatemala called Villanueva. I should clarify that the house isn't very big, but it's not small either. It has a long hallway that starts from the small patio and goes to the last room, which belongs to my aunt. One Wednesday night, we were all in the living room sitting on the couch watching a movie that was being broadcast on TV. I remember it was around 10 p.m., and we were all focused on the movie when suddenly a loud noise from the back of the hallway made us jump in fright. The sound was like glass breaking. We all just stared at each other, like we were waiting for something else to happen, but nothing did. My aunt stood up and calmly went to see what had happened. I should mention that my aunt isn't skeptical, but she also isn't afraid of the supernatural. After a few minutes, she came back with a strange look on her face and told us that it hadn't been anything. There were no broken glasses or anything that could explain the sound we all heard. I, the youngest of 4 brothers, felt a little uneasy. A strange sensation had invaded my body, very similar to chills. That feeling made me feel restless because I didn't understand what was going on. The movie ended and everyone got up to go to sleep. I felt a bit scared because I still had the same uneasy feeling. My aunt told us not to worry, that the noise probably came from the neighbor's house, and that we didn't have to be afraid. With that small explanation, she convinced my brothers, who decided to go to sleep right away. But I was still left with the doubt about what had happened. When I lay down in my bed, keeping my eyes closed at all times, I tried to sleep, but I couldn't. For some strange reason, I didn't feel alone. Suddenly I felt like the edge of my bed was sinking little by little, as if something was sitting there watching me. I say, watching, because I could feel a heavy gaze on me. I was scared, I wanted to scream, but I couldn't open my mouth or move. The fear was so strong I couldn't. In my mind, I started praying to God, asking Him not to let anything happen to me. While I was begging God, that thing that was watching me suddenly got up and, in a deep, thick voice, whispered in my ear, "Everything will be mine." Then complete silence filled the entire room. I began to cry. As soon as I could move again, I ran out of my room and into my aunt's room. My aunt woke up quickly, and when she opened the door, I entered crying. She was scared and asked what was wrong, and I told her what had happened. She asked me not to tell the others anything about it, because maybe I had dreamed it. After that, I had to ask permission to sleep with her, and she agreed. The next day, my aunt went to work as was usual. My brothers and I stayed in the house doing chores, since in the afternoon we went to study. When night fell, after we got back from studying, my brother told me that in the early morning he had heard someone walking in the hallway and then stopping in front of my room. I was scared, so I asked if he had seen or heard anything else. He said no, there was no doubt that what had happened the night before hadn't been a dream. That had me terrified, but I didn't want to tell my brother anything else about what had happened in my room. In the early morning of the next day, we were all lying down sleeping, and then something happened that, to this date, I still can't explain. A long scream woke all of us abruptly. It was my older sister who was screaming. We all ran to the room to see what was happening, but when we got there, we found her completely asleep. The scream that woke everyone up was my sister's voice. We were sure of it, but what was strange is that she didn't hear it, only the rest of us in the house did. That event seemed very strange to us, but we didn't pay it much attention, so everyone went back to their rooms to sleep. In the morning, we asked my sister why she had screamed in the early morning. She was a little confused and told us she didn't remember screaming. We kept telling her, "How is that possible?" because we all woke up from the scream. My sister told us that what she did remember was a dream, one that felt very real. She said she was at the entrance of the hallway, sitting near some flower pots, and then, through the darkness of the hallway, she managed to see an old man walking through it and stopping at the door of my room. She said she felt an intense fear because of that old man. Before he even crossed my door, she looked at my sister with a smile on his face, a mocking, very eerie smile. He laughed, then became serious again and said, "Everything will be mine." She told us that after the old man said those words, he started crossing my door. That was when she screamed, "No." Then she remembered waking up, but it was already daytime. Everyone was very confused, because it didn't match the screams we had heard in the early morning. I was confused and very afraid by her story, so I decided to tell them what had happened to me a few nights before. My brother also said what he had heard in the hallway. The four of us came to the conclusion that something had entered our house and was looking for something, and especially because of the phrase it had said, "Everything will be mine."